Tonight on Smacking Off the Podcast.
You say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, you got what I need. You say he's just a friend, but you say he's just a friend. Oh, baby,
we're all about standards and values here at Smacking Off.
I'm the great smack talker on the fucking face of the earth right now.
He's just jealous of my shine.
Dane's in there tripping on acid, man. This is going to be a great episode.
I try to do my part, guys. SEC Player of the Year, bro. Come on, dude. That's like being the smartest kid in your special ed class. Don't ain't nobody take that seriously.
Are you pooping?
I believe that's what they call it.
You're pooping. I don't hear pee sounds, dude. You're making...
Those Iowa beat so goddamn brains out.
No, USC is far better than Oklahoma historically.
Don't be ridiculous right now.
You fucking talk
What the fuck are you saying about the SEC draft?
Poison hot, not good.
Dude, whatever you're smoking, buy a ton of it.
Meatloaf is moist as my pussy gets. I probably should have.
Jesus Christ, that hurt. I'm still gonna have it.
Smacking Off the Podcast.
Man, it makes me look like I got owners.
Bro, I'm gonna be a SoundCloud rapper, bro.
That is the best thing you've ever said on this show.
And welcome back to another galvanizing edition of Smacking Off the Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Madden. I'm joined with Doug Phillips. Doug, how are you this evening?
I'm pretty good. I don't see you right now, though.
No, I don't see you either. I know that you're like within a stone's throw of me. Of course, I'd have to throw the rock pretty far. We have experienced some major technical difficulties for some reason or another putting this show together. Throw that out there right now, but I still think it's going to be a great show no matter what. Doug, what were we able to salvage?
Well, we've got an SEC segment. It's messed up, but I was able to go through it and pick out the best parts and put it together into a coherent segment. And it's not really our SEC preview like we planned on it being, but it's some interesting talk.
We just and we've kind of brought it up a few times on the show. We've also brought it up off air in some of the groups, but leading into the football season, which is coming up. I mean, we're what, a month away now?
Yep.
Less than a month. Yeah. In that month, we're going to go ahead and try to squeeze in as much talk about every one of the conferences as we can. We've been putting together, little square table segments with some of our regular contributors. There's going to be some new voices and some new faces. We've had a few of our regular contributors probably aren't going to be contributing anymore. There's a lot of feels in the off season.
We've got a couple casualties.
Yeah, we do. There's a couple people that I hope to see return at some point in time, but we'll save that conversation for another day. Because hell, who knows? The computer may crap out on us at any moment.
Absolutely. Now. Or we could just have the grid go completely down, in which case we will have to find a megaphone somewhere and do it from the top of the hill.
That probably won't happen because we have the greatest president ever in office right now, and he'll make sure that he'll do everything. He's going to keep the grid up. He may not be able to do much according to his detractors, but he'll definitely keep the grid up.
I believe he can keep the grid up better than any other person alive, really.
I think
nobody keeps the grid up like Donald Trump.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This grid is probably the greatest grid that has ever been in the history of civilization.
True.
Really.
All right. Speaking of conferences, we've got Timothy Bailey breaking down the entire Big 12, going team for team, and you're definitely going to want to listen to that one because he's got some stuff that's going to piss some people off.
Not Timothy.
Yes.
No.
It's some good stuff too, and I mean the guy's like a walking encyclopedia when it comes to, especially the Big 12 football.
Very, very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable. Probably one of our more knowledgeable contributors. Yep. I don't know. My dark horse still in the Big 12 this year, just to piss Timothy off, is going to be little brother Oklahoma
Well, I can't
State.
give it away, so I'm not going to tell you what he picked Oklahoma State to go, but you'll hear it on the segment.
Fair enough. All right. Okay. Well, good deal. I don't know. I still feel like we persevered. I know that you've had probably triple workload for this particular show. Trying to piece it all together, but this show is going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Technology technology will not keep smacking off the podcast down, and that is a
Absolutely
fact.
not, and it couldn't this week anyway, because we had the biggest event to ever grace the face of Family Smack.
Our group, it's actually still a very young group. Hashtag Family Smack is now our new go-to page for all of the smacking off shenanigans. All of our contributors are over there. We've actually got a new page. A new group that we've started on MeWe.
Well, tell everybody about what happened on during the weekend on Family Smack.
Oh God, what didn't happen over the weekend on Family Smack? Tittygate 2018. Tittygate 2018 has blown that page through the stratosphere. And we have the instigator, or one of the main instigators of Tittygate, Miss Amy Welch, who's an admin over at Hashtag Family Smack. Or no, she's is she an admin? Yeah, she's an admin now, isn't she? Yeah, she got a promotion.
And we've got Smack Jesus on that segment, basically asking her questions and prying into the details of what went down exactly.
There's a lot of details, and there's a lot of breasts on Hashtag Family Smack at the moment. So if you're not a member, come on over. It's a fun place to hang out.
We also have an appearance by Nick Swain on that segment as well.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that happened. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to hang with it because I had plans last night that did not include our plans that got absolutely destroyed Tuesday night when we normally record our segments. But like I said, technology will not prevail. Smacking off is here forever. And
we also have a surprise at the end of the episode. We got a call in from Tiggy.
Oh, bye-bye. May I have a cookie? Nice, Mommy. Talk and talk.
This is Mattel's family of Chatty dolls. Chatty Cathy, Chatty Baby, Tiny Chatty Baby, and Tiny Chatty Brother. And this is Mattel's Charmin' Chatty. She's different because she has a different personality for each of the 5 records you can change. So she can say over 100 things.
The amo means I love you.
Mattel's wonderful Chatty dolls. Which one do you want? You can tell them, Mattel. They're swell.
You are now listening to Smacking Off the Podcast. Like and comment on our damn videos. Subscribe to our fucking channel. I really hate you dumb fuckers need to be told that. You should have already subscribed. Jesus fucking Christ.
So here I am live because oh boy thinks that I filter all my shit. So here you see me, not filtered, wet hair, out the bath, getting ready to go motherfucking somewhere. You can stay on Facebook and play around because when I get off here, I'm out this motherfucker. You can clearly see my tits are real, okay? They're real, honey. They're real. And I am not a fat girl by no motherfucking means. I got an ass and I got motherfucking tits. So keep fucking your 12-year-old little skinny bitches and not having nothing to do with a real motherfucking woman. It's probably because you ain't got no dick. Little dick, little bitch. You can't lay it down on a fucking little girl. So you got to have a little dick. So you go right the fuck on and fuck your little 12-year-old boy having girls. Okay, that's what they have. Boy bodies. They're girls with boy bodies. No tits, no ass, no nothing. Okay? So you keep on with that shit. Alright? So I'm out. I got shit to do. Going to a party. Keep being on here talking shit, degrading a fucking woman, body shaming her ass and shit while you steady have no body pics up. Just your motherfucking ugly ass face. Okay? So bye. Boy bye.
Tittygate 2018 is brought to you by Hashtag Family Smack, the worst smack group ever. Also brought to you by Dapper Dan Palme.
But I don't want fuck, goddammit. I'm a Dapper Dan man.
Now we join in progress a conversation between Smack Jesus Russ Mostert, Nick Swain, and Tittygate star / victim, Amy Welch, all of which are Family Smack admins.
Saying that I was, what she called me, desperate for attention or attention seeking or something to that effect. And basically it went from there. And from there, Nick chimed in and basically punked her out for saying something.
No, man, I had your back, man. It was fucked up, man. Them girls were trying to jump on you because, damn, you know what I'm saying, you showing your titties. But in the same boat, when Heather was showing her shit, they fucking it, and she was all bragging on Heather and shit, and they want to jump on you. So
it's only cool when they do it.
I wasn't fishing to let that shit go down. And then that's when the damn bullshit started.
Right, because she made a comment that I was uglier or something than her. She called me ugly, and I told her that that was not the case. And that
then you had to go and fucking say, yeah, goddamn, whole fucking shit. Because I didn't say nothing. Holy fucking shit. It was... Yeah.
And then it kind of escalated from there to me telling her and Leslie both that if they could suck dick like they sucked the fun out of the post that I put up, that they would be top-notch bitches. And that really escalated.
That is a pretty good post. That is a very nice post.
Oh, you're looking at it now?
No, I'm just saying, you just told me what it was, and I approve.
And you approve?
Yes.
Approved by hashtag Jesus?
Smack Jesus. Come on now. How do you not know this already? Everybody else on the fucking planet does. Come on.
Well, I don't know. How have you not seen a tit pic of mine and everybody else has?
I mean,
because I'm banned from every group.
Where the fuck you been at, son?
Well, Facebook jail.
They're in every group, man. I mean,
well, I've been in I was in Facebook jail for about 2.5 weeks before I made Smack El De Jesus.
Yeah, well, okay, that's understandable, I guess.
Yeah, so now I'm back in action.
There it is.
So
back in action.
From there, the girls got booted from the group because the admin and them decided, they did a group vote, the admin and the mod, to boot them because they were drama. It's like anytime a female would come into the group, they would cause shit with them. So they got booted, and then I ain't heard from that girl, seen nothing, worried about her, thought about her. I mean, even considered her a factor in my life. I mean, nothing. And then Pinker added me to the Family Smack group. I didn't even know I was in that group. And I saw something he posted.
Well, surprise. Best thing that ever happened to you.
Was it really?
Oh.
That's
yeah.
Comedic. Yeah, because my tits are famous now, right?
I mean, they're trending. I mean, we possibly could get trending. If we put hashtag your titties all the time, just like I did my Smack Jesus, you might catch up with me.
I might. You never know.
And dude, that's crazy because those are some nice tits, and I'm just an average-looking guy. So.
It is. I mean, it is kind of bad how all these people are hating. I mean, it's like, what the hell? I don't understand. But
I'm not worried about them. They can hashtag saggy titties or whatever the fuck they want to call it. But the truth still remains, there's a whole lot of motherfuckers in my inbox that don't have a problem with how saggy they are or how big they are. So
that's right.
Well, when they're that big, what
I'll
are they
tell you like this,
do?
If I wasn't married, I'd be in that inbox.
Yeah.
Nick.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'm just saying.
But just out of curiosity, and I hope you answer truthfully, didn't the same guy that shared them with Heather share them with other people?
I mean, you know, that's my homeboy, man. I really don't want to damn fucking throw him out there. I don't know if he shared them with Heather or not. I don't know. I know he showed them with me, and I know she said something along those lines, something like I don't know. Like I said, I don't really want to get involved in that shit there, especially not with you damn talking about police and shit.
Oh hell no, I ain't talking about no police. Look, I ain't calling no police on that shit. That's retarded. That was just some funny shit, but it is the truth. It is against the law. So I mean, if I wanted to, I could, because that's how it goes. But I'm not that girl. I'm not.
You don't want
to talk about like that. You know what I'm saying?
You don't want to give her a third mugshot, do you?
I mean, no.
No, I don't even worry about her. I'm talking about my boy, man. I can't get my boy fucked up like that.
I'm surprised nobody's dug up my mugshots yet.
Yeah, and why am I getting so much shit for that? Why am I getting so much shit for that? Why? I mean, old girl had to go ask a guy for my pictures.
I thought it was funny myself, but
I thought it was comedic. I mean, all I did was Google majestic as fuck, and her picture popped up.
That's funny.
Man, that shit's public record. Your tits are not.
Right, exactly. That's what I was kind of thinking, and I don't understand.
She did post your nudes, so I mean, if she posted your nudes, and then you fucking post her damn other shit. But anyway, y'all, I got to pretend these youngins. Y'all, it's been real. Y'all take care.
Right,
Hold it down, son. All right, family smack for life. Peace.
Hashtag family smack. I gotta ask you, Amy.
What?
Do you think you were robbed out of the end results?
What? Of the contest?
Yeah.
Man, I don't care about that shit.
Yeah.
I know I post on there stupid shit like the crown, the queen, and all. Like, I don't. Look, it's Facebook. Come on, man. It's Facebook.
Right.
To think that I sit
just
around
thought
and go,
it was
oh my
like-
God, I'm Tiggy Queen of this group. Like, no, whatever.
No, this was like Trump versus fucking Hillary. But
Well, they
there's
were
two
still
people on
my
each
tits
side.
on her picture, so whatever. I mean, it was a titty competition, so I mean, it is what it is.
Who came in last place in that titty competition?
I have no clue. I didn't even go back and look.
Was it Shannon?
That or LaRue? I don't know. No, LaRue was pretty high, wasn't
No, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. LaRue got my vote. Oh, LaRue seems to be liking old family smack.
he? He sure does. He's posting a lot. He wasn't doing that a few weeks ago, but
He's actually added that little video editing into his repertoire, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that Forrest Gump skit he did was hilarious. I even sent him a message and gave him props for his
You know, when I saw that, I was
skills.
thinking of the whole Bull Tater video. I was like, you know what? Bobby Weston might have a little bit of competition coming up.
Bull Tater's actually in the group now too.
Yeah, I called him out and he never said anything. I welcomed him like as soon as he got in there. And I think I said he shakes so much he has to piss in the bathtub because he'd make a mess trying to piss in the toilet.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, and he just never responded. That guy, he's going to be fun if he ever decides to, interact.
Right. And if he does, he'll keep interacting because most people do when they start.
He's one of those. He's one of those ones that I really get to. I just want to get some of those back. I swear to God, if I know I made a whole bunch of bullshit like propositions to people to like do the groups and fuck with people for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I will give anybody $20. I'll Venmo them if they can get Jeremy Ventries back to Family Smack.
I don't think Jeremy's coming back.
Well, maybe he needs $20 so somebody can get it out to him. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, after what happened to him, he's probably fucking, like, on a park bench right now with a bottle of Wild Irish Rose and just fell asleep with dip in his mouth.
Wild Irish Rose.
I don't know if y'all have ever really listened to the guy or seen him, but Jesus Christ, he's like Sling Blade. Just the personality of Sling Blade.
I don't even know who you're talking about because, like I said, I've been a part of this group. I don't even know how long I've been in this group, to be honest with you, because I never posted in it. I never really paid attention.
You'll hear about it
until Kyle posted that picture that I commented on when all the madness started.
So I'm sure you'll get all the good stuff shared. I mean, I have a little incident myself, which was kind of a big deal about a year ago.
Yeah.
Doug knows what I'm talking about. It's kind of embarrassing to talk about, but
Was your dick pic put on Facebook?
Are you familiar with Jarita Dorita?
No, sir.
Well, let's just say she made an interesting video about me, and I'm pretty sure it's at 4,000 or 5,000 comments by now. I'm not in smack, but she might have got me. She might have got me a little bit.
I don't know. Do you know Lebu?
I see his name, but I don't know him. He talks to people. I'm mostly associated with like Jasmine and Walt and Andrea and Kim and them.
Well, he's at LSU. He graduated from LSU.
Yeah.
Well,
I do see that he's LSU fan. Yes.
Okay. Well, Lebu is Charita. That's when he dresses like a woman and he becomes an Alabama fan.
Oh.
And it's pretty funny stuff.
And he just so happened to make a video. I mean, me and him was doing that at the time, and he made a video, and he opened the envelope because he said I sent him something, and it was a pair of underwear with shit on it.
Oh.
And he got me. I haven't heard the end of it. I haven't heard the end of it yet. So.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's comical.
Yeah, it was, but it got him a little bit of popularity. So I was just giving back. Yeah.
I guess that's kind of like that Dave guy now that's done my stuff. He's coming up a little bit.
No, you don't understand. That's LaRue.
Oh,
He's been around for a while. Were you ever in SEC Smack?
No, that's what I'm saying. The first group I ever joined was the Pigskin Smack, and that's the only one that I knew I was a part of.
Yeah, well, at one point in time, like Family Smack was the go-to group, and there was like a lot of people in there, and it's where a lot of people like got to know each other, and then some people would get pissed off at the way it would go and start like other groups.
Oh, gotcha.
You said Family Smack. I think you meant to say SEC Smack.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Oh, my God. Hold on. I'm about to slap myself, okay? I got to make sure it's heard.
It didn't sound hard enough, but we'll go.
I got to put on. That wasn't. That was just. I'm trying to figure out how to put it on speakerphone on this video call.
I was joking.
All right, fuck it. I'm just gonna do it. Maybe you'll hear it. Maybe you won't.
Okay.
Oh wow.
I heard that.
All right. I just had to redeem myself. I'm hashtag Family Smack all the way. Fuck what you heard.
I heard that.
All right.
So. This video that I did, it's really cracking me up that everybody is kind of taken off with how ghetto or ratchet or whatever you want to call it. That's not me on a day-to-day basis. So I think it's really funny that people think that I was like being all serious and you know.
Once you debuted your character, you gotta own it.
Oh, I can get that way at any point in time. I can
stay that way. Stay that way.
Like.
That'd be the best thing.
I'm with it. I just think it's funny that people think that that's like me being serious when that's totally not me being serious.
Here's the name you need to go with. You need to go with Tits McGee.
No, I like Ghetto Barbie personally.
Ghetto Barbie? I like that.
There's already a Ghetto Barbie.
Ghetto Barbie. Somebody put it in one of the things the other day. That's what they called me. I don't remember who said it, but I'll go with it. Ghetto Barbie sounds great to me.
All right, we got us a nickname now.
Yep. So they can hashtag Ghetto Barbie now?
Sure.
Okay. Do I need to wear like a do-rag or something from now on? I need to like rep some colors.
Well, I mean, I think you should be putting on that red if you catch my drift. So woo.
My boyfriend just gave me a look like, what? All right, well, thanks for calling, and I will, anytime, I'll come back. This is fun. I'll interview whatever y'all want me to do. This is fun right here.
Okay.
What, Amy?
What?
Can I get a roll tide real quick?
Oh, hell to the no, honey. I'm a Tiger fan. Hashtag LSU.
All right, hashtag, what is it, 6 in a row or 7 in a row? Doesn't really matter.
Okay.
All right, well, it's good talking to you guys.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye.
Hashtag Family Smack. The worst smack group ever. Look for us on Facebook and on MeWe.
Are you irritated with something we said on the podcast? Well then fuck you. Call the Smack line and tell us all about it at 304-508-BAIT. Don't be a pussy fuck boy. Call the Smack line today. Messages left on our Smack line will be used at the end of smacking off the podcast episodes. Big 12 Football with Timothy Ray Bailey is brought to you by X's and O's. It's facebook.com/smackology for all of your college football needs.
We're here with Tim Bailey on Smacking Off the Podcast. We're going to talk some Big 8. Some Big 12 football tonight.
You must miss the old days, man.
I do. I really do.
I'm a young kid, but I like watching the old school football games, man. I love it.
Yep.
Couldn't even. I get excited from them now. I couldn't even imagine how much more exciting they were live. Even though it didn't end well for my Sooners, 1971 OU Nebraska is, to me, the greatest game I've ever watched. I mean, I know I wasn't alive then, but I watched it on ESPN Classic, and that game was just an unbelievable game.
My dad, he's an Alabama fan, but he still talks about that game, about Nebraska and Oklahoma that year, and then, of course, Nebraska and Alabama in the ball game, which he doesn't remember very fondly.
Yeah. I was looking at some history the other day, and because, I posted that thing you saw in those groups where I said, here's the records individual Sooners have, and here's the records, that OU holds. Mm-hmm. And I left a few of them out because I didn't want it to get repetitive, but I honestly thought Brian Bosworth's 22 tackle game would be the most, and then I actually saw how ironic that was. It was Leroy Jordan for Alabama recorded 33 tackles in Alabama's win over Oklahoma in the 62 or 61 Orange Bowl.
Yep, that's true. Leroy Jordan was a badass. He was a little bitty guy too.
33 tackles doesn't even seem fathomable. Like, some players only get 33 tackles in the whole season.
True. True.
I mean, that's crazy. Today, we're trying to preview the Big 12 Conference and kind of how I think things will go down. Since I'm a Sooner fan, I guess you can call me a Big 12 fan. I'm not like one of those rah-rah conference guys, but I know plenty about the league because I watch a lot of their games, and I figure I'll start this from number 10 to number 1, and we'll just go through it that way. So. I looked at a lot of these non-conferences, and I actually thought for all the Big 12 teams, they're fairly favorable. And even for Kansas, I looked at Kansas's schedule, and I have them beating Nicholls State, losing to Central Michigan, and beating Rutgers at home. But they could, you never know with Kansas. They could lose all three of those games, but all three of those games are very winnable for Kansas. They could start 3-0 this year. So wouldn't that be crazy?
It would.
It would be crazy, although I don't think it gets much better for them after that. Whether they start 2-1 or 3-0, I got them losing the rest of the games. There's just and it's sad because Kansas has a great college atmosphere. It's one of the great college atmospheres in all of sports. Mm-hmm. And they're doing some much needed improvements on their stadium. So 5-10 years from now, they might be in a better spot, and they've got a new AD. He used to be the AD for who did he used to be the AD for? Arkansas. He used to be Arkansas's AD, and his focus is going to be on football and turning things around there, and it's not going to start this season. They're just too much against the wall. The only position that Kansas is really strong in is on the defensive line. They have Daniel Weiss and a couple of guys. Mm-hmm. But besides that, they really don't have the talent at any position against it. They don't have the talent anybody else in the league has. So I got them going 2-10 overall. And then at 4-8, I have Texas Tech. I actually have them starting 3-0, but losing to everybody but Kansas in conference play. Here's the tough part when you look at a round-robin schedule. You use the logic of, well, are they better than this team? Then no, it's a loss. But the problem is with a round-robin schedule, it becomes kind of a melee. So if everything plays out the way it's supposed to, technically one team would win every game, one team would lose 1, one would lose 2, one would lose 3, so on all the way down through 10.
Right.
Obviously, I don't think it'll actually play out this way, but this is a projection, so who I think they're better than or whatnot, I'm just going to put that out there. I think I got Texas Tech going 4-8. They could go 3-9. I have them beating Ole Miss. I think both of those programs are in a really bad spot right now. They could very well lose to Ole Miss. They could even lose to Houston. So, really, this team, and it's King. This will be Cliff Kingsbury's final year as the head coach there. I'll put it out there.
Right.
And then this one's gonna surprise a lot of people. I have this team going 4-8. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised. I have Oklahoma State going 4-8. I have them starting out 4-1, but losing the remainder of their games. Every 4 years, Oklahoma State has a really bad year. The last time they was 2014. They went 6-6. They should have went 5-7, but my Sooners let them off the hook and somehow let them come back to win that game. The reason why is Oklahoma State doesn't recruit very much talent. They develop talent, and they're good at spotting those diamonds in the rough. But the thing is diamonds in the rough are diamonds in the rough for a reason. They're rough. You've got to edge them out. You got to get them. You got to do what you have to do. I think Gundy's a fine coach, but ultimately, this could be different. Because Oklahoma State, because Gundy's a good coach, they could also be 8-4.
Right.
I have them going 4-8 because I just don't see them beating. Their schedule's kind of brutal. They play Boise State, who should be pretty good this year.
Yep.
In the non-conference with a new quarterback. And then after Texas Tech and Kansas, they got Iowa State, who should be, in my opinion, very good this year. Then they have to go to Manhattan, and they have Texas, and they have to play in Waco. Then they have to play in Norman, and then they get West Virginia, and then they have to play at TCU. I think that's just a brutal schedule. Of course, if they went 6-6, that wouldn't surprise me. If they went 7-5, that wouldn't surprise me. But I think that this will be a non-bowl season for Oklahoma State.
Right. Yeah, that would be. That would probably shock a few people.
And then the team that I have finishing 7th in the league is Kansas State. I have them going 6-6. Again, Kansas State's a wild card in this. You never know with them. They could be a 10-win team. They could be a 4-win team. You never know. I do think that this year may be a little topsy-turvy for them because, there's a little chatter about, Bill Snyder not wanting to retire and have his son take over. And I know that's not going over well in Manhattan because they don't want to hire his son as the coach.
Right.
But I have them beating South Dakota, which, there's certain FCS schools that are gimmies, and South Dakota's not, but I still have them winning.
Right.
I have them beating Mississippi State since they're at home in Kansas, and I don't really have a lot of faith in the new coach at Mississippi State.
Right.
I have them beating UT San Antonio, but I have them losing to West Virginia, Texas, and Baylor. They play at West Virginia, at Baylor. I have them beating Oklahoma State, of course, losing to Oklahoma, TCU, beating Kansas, Texas Tech, and losing to Iowa State and Ames. They could win, again, they could lose 8 games, they can win 10 games, and it really would. I think 10 would surprise me, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're better than 6-6.
Gotcha.
But it definitely wouldn't surprise me if they're worse than 6-6.
I gotcha.
The 6th team I have Baylor. This might surprise some people because obviously they were really bad last year. But what people don't understand about Baylor is last year they lost several scholarship players right before the season started. And then they had 10-plus injuries to start the season with an already depleted roster. They couldn't figure out their quarterback situation. And what ended up happening is Baylor was in a lot of games. I mean, you remember the Oklahoma game that they were in. They were in against West Virginia. They probably should have beaten Duke. And they showed the difference that they're no Kansas. They whooped Kansas. They weren't really as bad as their record shows. And it's weird because I've never seen a 1-11 team that I'd be scared to play, but Baylor was that. But regardless, they have some good players coming back. Charlie Brewer, I believe is his name. He was the offensive freshman of the year in the Big 12.
Right.
They have all Big 12 receiver Denzel Mims, who's a really tough guard for anybody in the league. He's going to be back in another year in the system. Jalen Hurd, the excellent running back / wide receiver
from Tennessee. Yep.
He'll be there. He's going to play mostly wide receiver. But I'm sure he'll get the ball in handoff situations at times if the team needs him to. And overall, I think they're competitive in even the games they lose, but I have them going 7-5. I have them starting 5-1 because their schedule is kind of weak at the beginning. They got Abilene Christian, Texas San Antonio, who they lost to last year, Duke, who they lost to last year, Kansas State, but they do have Oklahoma in the first 5 games. But then I think it gets rough in the back half. They got Texas at West Virginia, at Iowa State, TCU. I have them beating Oklahoma State and Texas Tech, and I don't think that either of those games are gimmies necessarily either.
Mm-hmm.
But I think 7-5 is a fair expectation. I do see them going to a bowl game. Matt Rule's a really good coach, and he's been successful everywhere he's been, and I don't think that's going to change at Baylor even after the rough first year.
The mark of one true champion. K-State, Texas Tech, Texas, West Virginia, Baylor, Oklahoma State, Kansas, Oklahoma, TCU, Iowa State. The Big 12 Conference.
Are you irritated with something we said on the podcast? Well then fuck you. Call the Smack line and tell us all about it at 304-508-BAIT. Don't be a pussy fuck boy. Call the Smack line today. Messages left on our Smack line will be used at the end of Smacking Off the podcast episodes.
And then the next team that I have, I originally picked this team to go to the Big 12 championship game. And I may be dead wrong about this team's record. I will admit that straight up. And I may be wrong in 2 different ways because I'm dab in the middle. I think Texas is as talented. This is the team I got here. I got Texas going 8-4. I think Texas is as talented as any team in college football right now. But there clearly seems to be an issue inside the locker room between the head coach and the players. There's a disconnect. There's tweets from players. There's parents complaining. There's Texas high school coaches who don't like Tom Herman, and they lost a lot of good players. I mean, they lost their punter, who's probably one of the best college punters I've ever seen. They lost, and I know that you might laugh at that, but he was a weapon in the special teams game. I mean, their defense was good, but it was good because he put them in a lot of good situations.
No, I wouldn't laugh at that at all.
Yeah. Then you have they lost Kuna Ford, they lost Malik Jefferson, Deshaun Elliott, Holton Hill. They lost a lot of good players on that defense that was very good last year. So it may be tough to replace that.
Right.
And then on the flip side, we don't know who's going to be their quarterback. Is it going to be Shane Buechele? Is it going to be Sam Ehlinger? Both have shown flashes of success, and both have shown flashes of not so good play.
Right.
But I have them beating Maryland. I have them beating Tulsa. I have them currently beating USC because I just feel like the one thing Tom Herman's been good at is that one-of game. That one game that he can, write home about. He was at Houston with the FSU win, the Oklahoma win, the Louisville win.
And in a lot of ways, with the USC loss last year on the road, but they still almost pulled the game off. And
they did.
So that was almost. I mean, at that point, people were saying, "Well, Tom Herman doesn't really lose big games," and I was kind of laughing at that as I started watching that game. But by the end of it, I was like, "Shit, he's going to pull this game off." He didn't do it, but
the team should have won that game. I think they got stuck on a 4th and 1 for the win, right? If I recall.
Yep.
But looking at my issue with Tom Herman, I think Tom Herman's a genius. He's an X's and O's genius. He definitely can motivate kids, but there's clearly a disconnect. The players at Houston didn't like him after he left, the way he left. I understand when you get a new job, you're going to leave behind what you had before, and he wasn't going to turn down Texas to stay at Houston. But he also didn't need to lie to the Houston players, and they made Houston feel like those players felt lied to and cheated by Herman because he told them that he wasn't going to go anywhere, and he clearly did. But the problem I have with Herman is I don't think he's going to be able to get over the top because his players aren't on board with him. And I could be wrong. Maybe these are just 3 weird instances that are just coincidentally in the first year that he's there.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but Yeah, I'm reading a lot of the stuff that you're talking about. So
when you're All-American players, your best players on the team are tweeting about how they felt like you mistreated them, there's going to be an issue. When I hear about parents and coaches in Texas not liking you, you got to think that there's, we're either going to weed out the crap, which means that we still got some crap to weave out, which means 8-4 sounds pretty good if you got that much crap, or we have a problem with the coach. Either way, I think 8-4 is fair. They could be better, they could be worse. They're talented. We don't know. We have no idea what Texas is going to be.
Right.
But I'm going to say 8-4. I'm not confident to say they'll be in the Big 12 title game. Now, here's the one everyone was surprised at. You saw me post this the other day. I have Iowa State finishing 4th in the conference, and I have them with a 9-3 record.
Wow.
I know this sounds crazy, and a lot of people said, "Oh, you're just picking them because they beat OU last year," but that's not the case. Iowa State returns a lot of very good players in a league that lost a lot of really good players. Kyle Kemp was an excellent quarterback for them last year. 15 touchdowns, 3 picks in 7.5 games, and almost 1,800 yards. Which, if you translate that to the full season, means, almost 30 touchdown passes, under 10 interceptions, and almost 3,000 yards. Obviously that's not how it works, but if he kept the pace of that play for a whole season, that's where he'd be looking at. And he's a 5th-year senior, so he's a smart guy. I have a lot of faith in Matt Campbell. I think the Big 12 is loaded with very good coaches. But also, David Montgomery isn't getting enough love in the media. That guy is unbelievable. He led the nation last year in forced tackles missed. He looked like Reggie Bush at times. I'm not going to say he's Reggie Bush, but
right.
He looked like Reggie Bush at times last year, and they deserve a lot of credit. And then their wide receivers, they've got some dudes. They got 6'4", 6'5" guys that can go up and make competitive catches. Obviously they lost Alan Lazard, but they have Hakeem Butler, very good football player, really good instinct. Murdoch, the other side, very good player. He actually made a touchdown reception against Oklahoma State that didn't count for some reason. They ruled it an interception when both the offensive and defensive player came down with the football. But, that's a story for another day. Iowa State, I think, will be very good next year. And they could be a little worse than 9-3. But they were 2 wins. They were 2 plays away last year from having 10 wins. And I don't see why they can't be again this year.
Right.
And their schedule sets up fairly favorably. They have they play South Dakota State. They play at Iowa. They should be much better than Iowa this year because Iowa lost a lot of players in contrast to what happened to Iowa State, where they're returning 15 of 21 starters. Oklahoma I don't see them being able to beat Oklahoma this year because, Oklahoma's not going to lose to Iowa State 2 years in a row. They got Akron. They play at TCU, which would be a loss either way. And then they have a lot of games at home. They got West Virginia at home. They got Baylor at home. They got Kansas State at home. That sets up fairly favorably for them. So I think 9-3, 8-4. I'm going to pick 9-3 for now. I say they beat Texas. That game's a coin flip, and then those two would be flip 4-5.
Right.
And then third in the league, I have West Virginia. I have them going 10-2 next year. I know that you guys have had some chatter about them playing Tennessee and maybe losing to Tennessee. I really just don't see that happening. I think Tennessee doesn't have the talent right now, and West Virginia isn't the most talented team either, but they have difference makers in Will Greer and David Sills. I don't see Tennessee beating them, but they do play at NC State, and I have that as a win, but that game could be a loss. North Carolina State's always tough at home. They're returning Ryan Finley, an excellent quarterback. That could be a quarterback battle, and if West Virginia did absolutely nothing to address their defense from last year, there's no way that this 10-2 will come to fruition. But if they're anything better than they were if they're an average defense, they'll be 10. I think they can be 10-2. If they're an atrocious defense again, then they could lose. They'll be in every game because of Greer, but they'll lose some because you can't keep going into coin flips and expect them all to hit heads.
Exactly.
So that's where I'm at on West Virginia. I have them losing to TCU and Oklahoma, so that means I do have them starting out 7-0 this year. No, 8-0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 9-0. I have them starting 9-0 before they lose 2 of their last 3.
They're going to be ranked high if they start 9-0.
Well, here's their last. Here's November for West Virginia. This won't be an easy November, especially if Oklahoma State's a little better than I think. But we have at Texas, they have TCU, they have at Oklahoma State, and then they have Oklahoma, and that's November for them.
Right. Yeah.
So that'll be trying. That's a tough November. Even if Oklahoma State's as bad as I say, they're going to be tough at home. But yeah, I'm really high on Will Greer, so I have them 10-2, but I don't have them in the Big 12 championship game.
Hey, nice shooting, man. Nice shooting. But when you go against Eddie Jones, you're going to have options.
Barry Switzer?
You got it. Here, hold this and let me show you. Triple threat position. Now, D me up. From this position, I can pass, I can shoot, or I can punt. Ooh, sorry. You can do it. You need options.
Coach?
Smacking Off invites you to join us on the podcast. If you have an opinion on an upcoming game, some commentary on your conference, or want to roll with one of your fellow smackers on air, hit us up. You can message us at the Smacking Off or X's and O's Facebook pages, email me at maddenshannon@toothfairy.com, or call us on the Smack line, 304-508-BAIT. And as always, fuck your team.
I have TCU as the number 2 team and making it to the Big 12 championship game. On their schedule, I have them losing a very close game to Ohio State and then losing to Oklahoma at home. So I have them going 10-2 as well. I feel like they have a lot of key home games. They have Oklahoma at home, and Oklahoma has a young team, so that could be a win for them. They could be 11-1 instead, very easily. I do think that Ohio State will ultimately win, but if Ohio State overlooks that team at all, they will probably lose because TCU is still upset about 2014. So
what happened in 2014?
That was the year where they were ranked number 3 in the country, and then won 52-3 and dropped to number 6, and then Ohio State got into the playoffs.
I remember. Yeah.
And then they took out their anger on Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl.
I remember that.
So that's where I've got it. I've got Oklahoma winning the league again. I just think Oklahoma has the most talent in the league top to bottom. I think they have the best coaching staff around Lincoln Riley, who's a fairly inexperienced coach. They have 4 former head coaches on their staff, and as well as very good assistants. And I think it's going to be tough for them to fall off. Also, Oklahoma returns so much production on the offensive side. They return 4 guys who have started on the offensive line, or actually 5 guys who have started on the offensive line. 4 of those guys I think will play. Maybe all 5 of them will. I think that the sophomore will beat out the experienced redshirt senior at center. But they return several offensive linemen. They return Marquise Hollywood Brown. They return Grant Calcaterra, who was Mark Andrews' backup last year and played well in the moments that he was needed. CeeDee Lamb, the talented true freshman that was a All-American last year, a freshman All-America, as well as Rodney Anderson, who may very well be a Heisman contender. And then on the defensive side, they'll be young but much improved talent-wise, and you can't get much worse than they were last year on defense.
Right.
So has to be better than they were last year on defense. Offense will still probably be very good, probably won't be as good as they were last year. When I look at Oklahoma's schedule, I don't see a team that I think is better than them, so I do have them as 12-0. As any Sooner fan would tell you, they probably will not go 12-0.
Right.
They will lose to somebody. I don't know who it is. I mean, if you had me pick a team, I would just be guessing. They'll lose to somebody they shouldn't lose to.
Right.
Somebody will catch them off guard, maybe Kansas State, because they always somehow beat OU and Norman. Maybe they fall to TCU. I don't see it. Just as a letdown for Texas. The Red River rivalry game. It's, I look at Alabama's football schedule and Oklahoma's, and it actually reads the same to me. I don't see a team better than Alabama, but you look at a weird road game at LSU, maybe something happens.
Yep.
Or you look at the Iron Bowl and you say that's a rivalry game, flip a coin sometimes.
I think sometimes the games that jump out to me, like looking at Alabama's schedule, is maybe Mississippi State after LSU, because LSU is always a really physical game, and if that game goes down to the wire and Alabama plays their ass off, they usually come into the Mississippi State game beat up. And
Mississippi State believes they can play with Alabama because of last year.
Right, absolutely. So you got Oklahoma and TCU playing their fourth game in 2 years to close the regular season out, eh?
I do, and I know it's not bold, but to address some of the things with TCU, because I didn't really address it. TCU, though they lose Kenny Hill, they bring in a very talented Sean Robinson. And then LSU really wanted this guy. They have a true freshman coming in who was the number 1 player in the state of Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And LSU wanted him bad. He chose TCU, which is why LSU decided to be kind of classless and prevent an offensive lineman from transferring to TCU, which was kind of, to me, that was shitty of Coach O, but again, a different subject for a different day. So they're good at quarterback, and their talent position's good. They have Kevontae Turpin returning. They had a 3-headed monster in the backfield last year. It'd be a 2-headed monster this year. And then, of course, you have Jalen Reagor, the other talented true freshman in the Big 12, who was also a freshman All-America last year.
So if TCU was to do the unthinkable and get to 11-1 like you had said that they could, it could be a situation where the winner of the Oklahoma-TCU game gets into the CFP.
It very well could be. And, if it wasn't for Iowa State's weird surge last year, it would have been this year.
Yep, I agree.
So, that said, I think the Big 12 is getting a lot better than it has been in recent years. Last year, the Big 12 was very good, and I think you would agree with me there. They sent 8 teams to the bowl season, did very well against Power 5 opponents.
Yeah, they
outside of the league.
From top to bottom, they were the strongest conference, I think.
So I think they're going to get better this year again. And again, I look at, if we went to the bottom of the league, and we looked again at, this league has a lot of parity in it. But if we went to the bottom again, and I said Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, in the last decade, all 3 of those teams have multiple 10-win seasons.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, this league is topsy-turvy. The only consistent thing in this league has been TCU and Oklahoma. And even TCU hasn't been consistent. They had a couple of bad years. Oklahoma's been the only consistent in the league. So anything can happen. This is just my guess of the season.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, man, I'm excited for college football, and I'm ready for it to happen. And the Big 12 has a good opportunity again this year, just like they had last year. They have a ton of very good non-conference games where they can prove themselves against top-quality opponents. They have Ohio State, USC, Mississippi State, North Carolina State. They've got quality opponents this offseason. Oklahoma has UCLA, Florida Atlantic, who will probably be very good.
Yep.
So, this will be a good opportunity for the Big 12 to showcase that, hey, we were down for a few years, but we're not anymore.
Florida Atlantic won 10 games last year, didn't they?
They won 11.
Oh, wow. And I know one of their losses was at Wisconsin. So
one of their losses was at Wisconsin. They started really poorly, I think. I think they started 1-3, but they had a brutal schedule last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they played. Let me look. I'm pretty well. I'll look later, but I think they played UCF too. No, they play UCF this year.
Yeah, they played Florida International. I know they play them every year, but
their schedule was not easy.
Yep. And I appreciate it, Tim, and I think we got us a good segment here.
All right, awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Meet George, the hard worker. His tale's a tearjerker. His hurry-worry life just dismays his poor wife. All the hustle and bustle, the workaday tussle. He's a miserable sight when he comes home each night. His nerves all a-jangle, all ready to wrangle. His stomach upset. But she's ready, you bet.
It's time for Pepto-Bismol, time for hospital-tested Pepto-Bismol.
For upset stomach, Pepto-Bismol is America's leading remedy. Here's why. No soda, no alkalizer works like Pepto-Bismol. You see, when upset stomach strikes, tender walls of both the stomach and the lower digestive tract become irritated, and you have that well-known stomach ache. But Pepto-Bismol's special medicinal formula soothes irritated walls of both the stomach and the lower digestive tract with a gentle coating action. So when upset stomach strikes,
Take soothing Pepto-Bismol and feel good again.
Please visit smackingoff.com for all of your smacking off needs.
This next segment was originally intended to be our SEC preview segment. But due to numerous technical difficulties throughout our podcast evening, this segment did not get the proper attention that it deserved in length. And there was numerous audio issues that are not correctable. This is still some good audio, but it is condensed in order to cut out most of the audio issues to a mere fraction of what it should have been. Our apologies for this inconvenience, but fuck you. Shit happens. Enjoy the segment anyways.
Lies are the door of the mind. But you know that there's nothing to fear when you know you will. I am a number. Can you count that? I am a number. Can you count that? I am a number. Can you count that? I am a number. Can you count that?
Yeah, we had technical difficulties. We've got some kind of lightning has hit the tower here at the station, and it's just mass chaos. We've got melted capacitors, and we're going to have to start a GoFundMe for fuses now.
That, or we'll just get Cowboy Adam to bring it up.
Yeah, Cowboy Adam.
They can throw it on to his. He'll send us the money.
Yeah,
I know he will.
Yeah,
just put it on the tab, I guess.
Yeah, the fuse tab.
All right, who's here? Just you two guys?
Yeah.
The other guys bailed out. They said, "Fuck those guys."
I don't know. They never joined in on our call. Me and Robert been on the phone for 45 minutes. We've gone through different types of guitar amps, dogs.
Man, I missed the amp
football.
Talk. Shit, let's talk about amps. Fuck this segment. I don't fuck the SEC. The Alabama and everything.
Marshall, he's laying on you right now.
James, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, yeah, we've had a night from hell. Our whole system has gone down. Had to pull out a laptop to do this.
Yeah. I think now it's time to pay the piper. That's what happens when you talk shit online all weekend.
All right, where's Easterwood at? God damn it. We can't do this without an Auburn guy, can we?
He's drunk as fuck.
There's a lot of shit you can do without an Auburn.
Ding! That is a correct answer, sir.
All right.
I don't know. Let's start with Auburn for a minute. That's
the fact that they had no people, they had no players on the first team SEC.
That is correct. Everybody's still high on Stidham for some reason or another. He's popping up on a few of the. I don't know, man. There's that have the questions that they do about Tua and Tua's performance in the Georgia game and the fact that he threw some interceptions, this, that, and the other. Stidham has a lot of those concerns too. Let's not forget the Clemson game early last season, where he spent most of that game on his back. And I know the O-line is responsible for some of that, but my God, if you can't figure out that your O-line doesn't have your ass, then you need to learn how to scramble or something, man. I don't know what the fuck. That's retarded.
What about Georgia and what we can expect?
Are we done talking about Auburn now? Fuck Auburn.
Auburn.
Tell us about Georgia, James.
I don't know. I see them going 11-1.
Where's the loss at? You just figuring there will be one?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be kind of hard to go undefeated. I mean, I say maybe LSU, maybe.
No, I'm sorry.
Where's that game at?
I'm sorry. I don't care.
I don't have the schedule in front of me.
I think it's in Death Valley, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That is a hard place to play.
It is a hard place to play, but it
was.
Yeah, Troy loved their that was a homecoming game, wasn't it? Yeah,
I think so.
I think it was.
Yeah,
I bet LSU would too.
No way Auburn goes to Athens and wins. Auburn don't win away from Auburn. They don't.
No.
Not against good teams.
They get exposed for the team that they truly are. There's something, and I've said this numerous times on this broadcast, that there needs to be some sort of NCAA investigation going down to Jordan Hare and seeing what's going on down there. That is because I'm sorry, and we know that they do some shady up on this show before too, and it's a matter of public record. Opposing team fans rushing the field afterwards. You have situations where suddenly the air conditioner in opposing team's locker room didn't work anymore. Hot water suddenly goes out. Well, it's going to be 3 days before we can get another water heater, that sort of thing. They are notorious.
It's just bad luck.
They are notorious for that. Now, look, I'm not saying that Auburn's the only team that does that. Let's be fair. But it seems like there are way more anecdotes of stuff like that going on at Jordan Hare.
I'm going to say 86. That was 86. Georgia beat Auburn at Auburn. The few Georgia fans that were there stormed the field, and Auburn turned fire hoses on their ass.
Yeah.
Well, they got lots of practice with the fire hoses because they were used to all the civil rights activists, so they had all that lined up.
Hey, we live in Birmingham. Be fair now. We live actually within the shadow of.
What's your Crimson Tide going to do?
It's more of the same. It's gotten almost. I hate they just Saban keeps reloading every year. It doesn't matter who's quarterback, they're going to win. I mean, if Alabama drops a game, it would probably be maybe LSU.
Well, let me ask you a question, though. You actually bring something very important up, which has been a very hot topic with Alabama over, since the national championship game, particularly since the second half of the national championship game as far as who the starting quarterback is going to be. There's been a lot of off-season chatter by one of the if he starts Jalen over unless just has a complete collapse within the first half of his game, similar to what.
Well, we know that Coach Saban's pretty loyal to guys. I mean, but at the same time, if Blake Sims, we'll go back to Blake Sims, who was technically not a quarterback, even though he had some passing skills.
And definitely not a Saban top quarterback either.
No.
But the truth of the matter is, if it could have given the team a better midfield, and you saw that in the second half. You pull your guy that's been starting for you for 2 years in the second half because there's really no other option. I mean,
well, there was definitely no other option. Georgia wins the game. If Hurts stays in, Georgia wins the game by
handily. Yeah.
If Hurts stays in, Georgia wins the game probably by 3 scores.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hurts could do nothing. He couldn't. I know everybody has a bad game, but he was.
Let's just be honest. Kirby figured out how to put the mojo on his ass, and there was no way that Hurts and his style was going to pull this off.
And
there's
to be
no
fair,
way.
Hurts had a lethargic game against Clemson too, even though that was a handy.
It was a lesser team.
Yes, absolutely.
Hurts wasn't going to do it. There's no way.
No, I mean the writing was already on the wall. We have to. This is desperation time. We got to do something. What we're doing is not working. I mean, he's always been that guy. He's always the guy that watches the most film. And I do think if Alabama gets to the SEC championship game, they will win it.
I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and get off the LSU bandwagon. We'll talk about LSU for a minute, though. LSU is not a great team. This is not the LSU of yesteryear with Coach Les Miles or Coach Nick Saban. I don't know why people are so high on Ed. They didn't win their bowl game. They looked really, in spots last season, looked really bad, very mediocre. And, I don't know. I'm so not sold on LSU, and I don't know why the embarrassing losses of the Saban era if he loses to LSU this year.
I agree.
I'm sorry. I have to throw that out there. LSU does have talent, but I am not sold on Coach O. I've never been sold on Coach O. He's a scrub. He reminds me of Brother Bill Oliver. He's a better coach. Don't get me wrong, but he reminds me of old Brother Bill Oliver. And of course, we had Eric Easterwood on here. We could talk about Brother Bill for a half second because he was Auburn coach for like 2 or 3 games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me throw this. Go ahead and throw this in there because Robert's fixing to throw a monkey wrench into this whole motherfucker.
I think the Kentucky, Florida, and Tennessee are all at near parity, as I've stated on the site. I think that they're at near parity talents-wise. I think the coaching is a wash, right? And it all comes down to scheduling. If Kentucky had the same schedule this year, so Kentucky actually has more talent this year than they had last year.
And you're talking about two programs, too, that are in transition with coaching. All of the players are getting acclimated to new systems as far as the existing players that were on the team, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, Stoops is really – he's gotten –
You say they're in transition. Kentucky's last chance with the leaders. This is their last chance to move up in a tier, and everything's in place for it except for the schedule.
Well, now, you're also overlooking South Carolina and the fact that South Carolina is trending upwards right now.
I think Kentucky beat South Carolina yet again.
About South Carolina, I will believe it when I see it. When you got Muschamp involved, I will believe it when I see it.
Very true.
You know a coach is ready to be fired when they're on the SEC game of the week and they keep saying the coach's name again, right? Yeah. Like when you hear Will Muschamp, right? And they keep talking about Coach Will Muschamp. He's going to turn his thing on.
Let's go ahead and get each of your thoughts on how the SEC West and East ends up and who ends up in the championship game. You go first, James.
All right, let's see. On the West, I think Alabama's going to come in first, of course. East, Georgia takes it by favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be Alabama and Georgia in the championship game. And I think Georgia's going to get revenge this go around.
Okay.
I agree. I think Georgia wins the East. Maybe I don't think Tennessee creeps in yet. Florida's got to get a shot as anybody to get there. They always seem to have enough talent to be decent.
Mm-hmm.
On the West, I feel like Alabama's going to come out on top of it. Probably Auburn going to be in second place. I think they're a good enough team to do that.
Yeah, I got to pick a SEC champion here. And
you're the tiebreaker.
Here's what I think is interesting. I think that Texas A&M now has Jimbo Fisher.
Right.
Maybe the most overrated coach of recent history. And they're going to put a lot of pressure on him and talk a whole lot of smack. And I believe that Alabama and Auburn are going to bust his bubble, right?
Okay.
But they're going to what Texas A&M is going to do is they're going to live off the East, right? And if they win one of the two games with Alabama and or Auburn, either one of those two games, they'll be in contention. There'll be confusion around title time. But to me, it's obvious. I mean, Georgia's loaded. You could obviously pick them. The East is unclear except for Georgia. Georgia's the only team with a clear scheme, great talent, and everything ahead of them.
Right.
And obviously Alabama's greatest program in history at this point, right? But people can slip up because they have quarterback controversies.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks to me like I think it's going to be Texas A&M and Alabama in the West who wins the conference.
Wow.
Interesting.
It is interesting. All right, guys. I'm sorry that we got in on this conversation. An hour into it?
Yeah,
we would have had some great audio, wouldn't we?
I don't know, maybe. Depends on how much you like to talk about music shit.
I got you, man. We had a night from hell. I mean, everything, and I had to install some shit on the laptop.
I figured you did.
That's right. Go team. I'm with the team, win or lose.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. And James, we'll have you on. I know George is going to be all up in the discussion this year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Appreciate it, guys.
Bye-bye.
Oh, the stagecoach was a-heading through the mountains. The stage they call the Welch Fago Express. The cargo, so I hear, Fago old-fashioned root beer. The tasty drink with creamy head goodness. Look out! It's a holdup! It's Black Bart!
Oh, save me! For my life, I fear!
Oh, hush up, gal. It's that famous drink I want. That case of Fago old-fashioned root beer.
Stand where you are. Black Bart, you are through.
So the stagecoach went on heading through the mountains. And old Black Bart went off to jail, I hear.
The Fago Kid. Which way did he go? Which way did he go? He went for
Now's the time for you to go for Fago Old-Fashioned Root Beer. The big 1-liter bottle is now on sale at participating grocers.
Are you irritated with something we said on the podcast? Well then fuck you. Call the Smack line and tell us all about it at 304-508-8. Don't be a pussy fuck boy. Call the Smack line today. Messages left on our Smack line will be used at the end of Smacking Off the podcast episodes.
Hello, and thanks for calling Smacking Off. Please leave a detailed message and we will deal with you shortly. Thanks for calling, and remember, fuck your team.
Bro, look, dude. Look, bro, I'm just gonna go on a rant here, because the fucking, bro, like, alright, let me tell y'all something, right? It's like, I just think I get misunderstood, you know?
To be fair, and I want to go ahead and give full disclosure, and because we gave Tiggy a lot of shit last week for not showing up. He's kind of stood us up a few times, and we got a bit butthurt about it. Tiggy actually did record a segment that we completely lost because of our technological problems. So we went ahead and paid an homage to Tiggy. Tiggy will actually be on next week. We've got a pretty fun segment lined up talking about the Pac-12. Won't necessarily be our official Pac-12 conference conversation. I think we'll save that for a little bit later, but it's going to be a great Pac-12 talk. We'll just put it down there.
Please subscribe to our channel by clicking the small Smacking Off icon at the top of the screen now. Click the link at the bottom of the screen to watch last week's episode.